so we're back for a special edition broadcast today. Someone has done it again. Every so often, an incident happens in the paramotor world that hits the mainstream media, and whenever that happens, my inbox gets flooded with messages, links to articles, links to videos. In this case, if you're not aware, recently a Greenpeace protester attempted to drop a ball with the message "Kick out oil" into the Alliance Arena in Munich, Germany during the Euro 2020 France versus Germany game. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. He struck a steel cable that was strung across the top of the stadium. This altered his flight course. He took a small collapse, likely caused him to lose some power, and he tried to hook in for a landing. In doing so, struck some camera equipment and then eventually came to rest kind of rough in the actual field. We're gonna go into more of exactly breaking down what happened later, but first I wanna say the reason I wanna make this video right now, the reason I'm talking about this incident, is basically to condemn the actions of this paramotor pilot. I've spent all my time on YouTube here and off YouTube doing my very best to represent the sport of paramotoring to my finest ability, showing responsible decision making, promoting training, really just showing how safe the sport can really be. And it's a shame that one person can go out and make such a dumb decision like this. It goes out on international news, millions of people see it, and it changes the public's opinion about paramotorists. And I think it could also be cited as an example if governments decided to increase regulations on paramotors in the future. So let's break down exactly what happened. What went wrong? First off, let's just assume nothing went wrong and his plan was executed exactly how he had anticipated. I assume his goal was to just fly over the stadium and drop this ball and then exit the area. Let's just say that went perfectly fine. At the end of the day, he's protesting. He's part of the Greenpeace Alliance or whatever. Whatever your views are, I don't care. If you're for it or against it, whatever. But the point is, there's gonna be people that are for it and against it. And he's going in and trying to make a statement and interrupting a freaking soccer game, causing a spectacle. Even if everything went well and he dropped his little ball and got out of the stadium, he would have been representing this sport not very well. Obviously, that's not what happened, and it turned into an entire show after that, when he failed to realize there was a giant steel cable strung across the top of the stadium. Now, this is one of those things that you would think if you were going to try to do a big protest act like this, that would be in your pre-planning. Like, let's see if there's any obstacles that I should have to avoid. Regardless, I guess he didn't realize there was a giant steel cable, and you can actually see he has the ball, he's making his turn, he's probably a little distracted in dropping the ball, but shortly after he drops it, I think he sees the cable, lifts his feet all the way up to try to get over it, but doesn't help, he smashes the cable. I would assume it did some damage to his paramotor, which, by the way, it looks like an electric paramotor, obviously because he's protesting oil. The surge created from hitting that cable makes his wing collapse slightly and causes him to kind of go into a left dive. Regardless, he's still flying, and at this point, I think he knows he has to come in for a landing. He makes a hook turn, gets way too low over these people, smacks some type of camera gear, which in turn blows up the rest of his motor. Once again, he gets kind of lucky in just grazing it, continues to fly, and is able to land somewhat reasonably on the field. Now, I'm not super familiar with the regulations in Germany, but here in the US, one of the biggest regulations is that we're not allowed to fly over people, and it's for good reason. The reason is to not put anyone else's life in danger except for ourselves. The reality is that paramotors are not very regulated, they don't have to be registered, they don't have to have maintenance checks, and they aren't 100% reliable. So if we're flying over a town and our motor goes out, we never want to be in a situation where we come crashing down into people and hurt someone else. Or, for example, a stadium. That is kind of the first error. You would never want to fly over a stadium, regardless if you were protesting or whatever. Just the idea of flying a paramotor over a large assembly of people is not a good idea. Now, after all this chaos ensued, hitting the cable, hitting the camera gear, crashing on the field, somehow in those collisions, apparently shrapnel either fell from the top of the stadium, blew up from this guy's propeller, whatever had happened, apparently it hospitalized several people, and that is really not cool. If he hurt himself, I honestly couldn't care much less. The dude's an idiot. But the fact that he hurt other people is such a shame. In our local area here, there's a number of paramotor pilots, and I think it kind of goes without saying, we're all really responsible flyers. We're all at a experienced intermediate skill level. And I think over time, the public begins to realize that. They see how we fly, that we fly in a safe way, that we come in for nice controlled landings, and they get used to it. They build this kind of reputation of, or expectation of what we're gonna be doing. And I fear that incidents like this will make people second guess that maybe we'll come crashing down and hurt someone. But really that's not the case. It really is a shame, and obviously for this guy to have even gotten into the air, he had to have had some skills to become a paramotor pilot. And if he's calling himself a paramotor pilot, it's a real shame that he chose to put his protesting actions over the representation of the sport. He chose to make us look bad in pursuit of his protest against the use of oil. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed my spontaneous thoughts on this incident. If you're ever thinking of using your paramotor to protest or fly over a stadium or do some crazy shit like this, please don't. You will most definitely get condemned by the entire community of paramotorists, including myself, and I invite all of you guys watching this video to condemn this dude. I hope you enjoyed the video. Before we go, we've got one last thing to do. If you watched the last video, I announced we're giving away a DJI Mini 2 drone. Drumroll please. The winner is Michael McDaniel from Grand Prairie, Texas. Congratulations, Michael. We'll be getting that drone sent out to you in your order. I appreciate your support. And if you guys want to support this channel, if you enjoy the content, simplest thing to do is subscribe and drop a like on this particular video. If you want to go above and beyond, check out our Risky Biscuits co-merch down in the description. We've got a whole bunch of cool paramotor related t-shirts, hats, sticker decals, key tags, the whole 9 yards. If you ever want to get into the sport, also check out tuckergott.com. We've got Ozone Wings. We've got links to training, Aviator Paramotor down in Lake Wales, Florida. That's where you can learn to not be a dick and crash into stadiums full of people. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, fly safe, have fun. Peace.